Fikile Mbalula.
Positions, including becoming MPs, because the ANC have sent us on behalf of the people of South Africa. If the ANC says step aside, not negotiable, you have to step aside. And that will apply to any other individual in the list of the African National Congress. What we will not do is to shy away from issues that are raised that have got implications for integrity for the ANC. But what we will not do, we will not victimize people. And they feel that they are being victimized as individuals. This one is singled out and so on. We have said Integrity Commission will look at the entirety of the ANC list. So that if there are question marks about Mbalula, you've got issues, he must be called to explain. And if that explanation is not only insufficient, but it does not augur well with the ANC integrity, then Mbalula must step aside. It's not about anything else. It's about our movement and our people. And that's what we've done. And we have briefed you about that. We have briefed you not because the NEC met and took that decision. NEC endorsed an already existing. In Durban, in our list conference, we said once the list is done and finished, we will give it to the Integrity Commission. We said that. But today is raised as though it is a matter that we never considered from the onset. You raised a couple of names. Will so and so fit in the list? Will so and so fit in the list? Will so and so fit in the list? You raised those names and repeatedly. And we explained that our list, in terms of our public representatives, they'll be subjected to that. We are not here to argue with anyone when we've got processes in the party that need to be followed in order for us to do the right thing. Thank you. Lindy?
I think Comrade Mbalula has really answered most of the questions. I think where the issue of democratic process of the ANC is concerned, as leaders of society, it is our responsibility as the National Executive Committee to intervene when we see that the list is not a balanced list. Firstly, you must recall that we've also got 50-50 for women. And as a matter of fact, we keep on saying it, that the issue of women and gender balance is not just an ANC problem, it's a societal problem. And so when our members at a local level, at a branch level, are nominating, we really guard it jealously, that there must be that understanding that we need women, we need youth, we need people with disability. But it does happen in that process, those three categories are really not fitting, are not being pulled up as much as they are supposed to. And therefore, the leadership of the African National Congress has the responsibility, because we can't declare that we want the balance. We can't also declare that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. Then at the end of the day, when we have our list process, we find that we are falling short. So the organization will intervene rightfully because we've got guidelines. We're not intervening just from nowhere. We do have those guidelines. So the democratic processes we are talking about are also very much respected. I think the issue I wanted to deal with was the Alex one, and I think it was clearly, properly covered. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Lindy. In our engagement with the South African National Editors Forum, as the ANC, we have committed that we will respect media freedom, editorial independence, and will also work towards helping SANEF in terms of protecting journalists in all our structures, in all our areas. So that commitment stands. So as part of that commitment, we'll allow for the second round of questions, if there are any. Yes. Where is the mic?
Fikile, you answered only half of my question, and perhaps maybe I wasn't clear in it. The IEC has said that parties can no longer substitute, amend their lists or remove their candidates. You have a parallel project, for lack of a better word, where you have instructed the Integrity Commission to look at names, vet those names. Now, what I'm trying to understand, maybe you could guide me there, is how do you go about this exercise when the IEC says that no one can be able to step aside at this particular moment? The cutoff time, which was the 28th of March, has gone past. How do you do this? When exactly do you plan for these individuals to step aside? How does the process work? Maybe I just need clarity on that.
Yes. Second hand.
So what does the ANC make of the Sunday Times report that President Jacob Zuma is said to have been given $30 million in 2011 by former late president of the Libyan people, Muammar Gaddafi?
Any other hand? Thank you very much. I think Comrade Bucks, let me give over to you, then I'll give over to Comrade Lindy on the Sunday
Times. We're not here to answer the Sunday Times report. Not that we'll avoid it, but it's a report that came up and it must be subjected to its own process. And that particular process borders on many other things. People have conducted their own investigation and so on, and it will be dealt with as such. So the ANC, in relation to such a report, the due processes will be followed, and the officials will respond to that. It's important. Respond to that particular issue. But the reports, most of the time, they can be reported, but in themselves do not constitute the truth. And that's why it's important, as a movement, we don't entangle ourselves in issues that crop up in a particular space, and only to find that we dance into an agenda. But however, because they've arisen in the public discourse, they must be responded to by the parties involved. As in this case, it is largely the state that is being drawn in. Now, there's no ANC leader who has met Gaddafi, put money somewhere, and such that the ANC is implicated. Now, those who run the state and government will respond to such, and those questions will be much appreciated if they are directed to that particular direction. Parties cannot amend their list. They can amend their list. The list is not cast in stone. You can be removed and the next person comes in. The ANC have got more than 200 people on its list, more than a surplus. You mean if I can die now, not that I'm going to die because my ancestors have told me I'm going to live forever and ever. I will reach 90, not your generation, me. I will reach 90, yes. Now, if anything happens to me by accident or anything of that sort, it will affect the list and my name in the list. So there will be replenishment. So if the Integrity Commission at any given point in time, when it has done its work, come to a conclusion that the following people must not be in the ANC list or they must step aside for whatever reason or the other, that will apply because we've got a list of reserves. Many people who can come into the list if Mbalula were to step. If tomorrow I decide to step aside or anyone decide to step aside, it doesn't mean that that particular position cannot be occupied. Can. What Kate was relating to is that you cannot all of a sudden replenish the list. at the present moment in terms of their rules of the IEC. Okay? So, in this particular instance, any political party, even the word replenishment is an over-exaggeration. Any political party, if it takes decision about individuals, its list, that affect its list, changes can be effected. And that's what actually happens in terms of the list of the African National Congress. Thank you very much.
Comrade Lindy.
I think it will be very important for the newspaper that has